How big is the Eagle Ford Shale boom? Oil and gas production has clearly soared, from 352 barrels per day in 2008 to more than 891,000 per day in 2014. And oil and gas employees have flocked to the region by the thousand. But counting these new arrivals is tough, given the transient nature of the work and the workers. That presents a big challenge for local leaders, who struggle to plan for housing, schools, pipelines, and roads. A UT San Antonio study found that 38,000 full-time jobs were supported in 2011 across 14 counties with active drilling in the Eagle Ford Shale. But those full-time jobs don't necessarily translate into full-time residents. Some workers stay for a few weeks at a time, others commute several hours a day from across the state. The U.S. Census shows fewer than 600,000 people live in that same 14-county area, and that the population there increased 2.7% from 2010 to 2013. Despite the boom, that's less than Texas statewide population growth, which was 5.4% during the same time period. But dig a little deeper, and you'll find evidence of an underreported surge. Several mostly rural counties, Bee, Dimmitt, Karnes, Live Oak, and McMullen, watched their populations drop from 2000 to 2010. Between 2010 and 2013, however, they saw a speedy growth spurt. That growth was most pronounced in Dimmitt County. While the population there dropped by 2.5%, 250 people, from 2000 to 2010, the next 3 years saw an 8.6% population increase, nearly 900 additional people. That raised tiny Dimmitt County's population to nearly 11,000. The most visible population growth, however, is the hardest to track. That's because there are transient workers who live in hotels, motels, and man camps, glorified RV parks that can be moved from place to place as job sites shift. The Census Bureau doesn't count those workers, whose numbers can ebb and flow from month to month because they haven't established permanent residency. To give you a sense of how many people probably aren't being counted, consider the number of new hotels being built in the region. From 2000 to 2014, 162 hotels were built in those 14 counties, increasing the area's hotel capacity from 6,000 to 16,000 people. In order to make educated guesses on infrastructure needs and school enrollment, some cities have found creative ways to measure the number of people living and working in the region. In Cotulla, City Manager Larry Dovalina says the population is probably 3 times the U.S. Census Bureau's estimate of 3,800 people. Using the methodology devised by state utility regulators, he says the city estimated its population based on the number of water utility connections multiplied by 4. Even in communities that have figured out good population estimates, a bigger question remains. How long will the boom last, and how many people will stay when it's over?